Hi everyone. Just wanted to share a very brief demo showing how you can add different data sources into your simple GIS client projects. This is if you locate external data sources that's either provided through a web mapping service or tile mapping service, or even just simple data downloads. And really what's kind of prompted this tutorial is the most recent storm forming in the Gulf, Hurricane Francine, that is expected to make landfall sometime tomorrow on September the 11th of 2024. And you may not be aware, but there is data that you can actually gather and add to your GIS projects if you were needing to track this storm. In this particular case, what I'm referring to, there's actually the National Weather Service shares a lot of GIS data, both as web mapping services and actual data that you can download as well. And so in this particular case, I'm looking at this website. It's the www.weather.gov/GIS/cloud GIS web services. If you visit this page, you would see different categories here of data available. And for today's demo, I'm really looking at this tropical weather products and services. And you can see here that there's various products available. There's a storm surge if you needed to see, big storm surge and visually see that on the map, as well as tropical, either current conditions and forecasted, as well as summary information. For this demonstration, I'm going to use the tropical weather category, and I'm going to select the web mapping service. If you click on this link, it'll actually open up the XML, and it has the URL for the actual web mapping service that you can connect to. So I'll just click on my URL bar, and I'm just going to right click and select copy to copy this URL. And then I'm going to go back to my simple GIS project. I'm going to go to the add data as new layer to map, and I'm going to select the add internet mapping service. And since this is a web mapping service, a WMS, I want to make sure I have this tab selected. I'll give it a name for the layer. I'm just going to simply call this track for now. And then I can click in the URL box, right click and select paste to paste the URL we copied, and click connect. As I do this, it's going to populate the available layers, and I can expand this to see all the available layers. So we have probabilistic winds, which gives us some wind fields for 64 knots, 50 knots, 34 knots. Kind of gives some probability areas based on probability of experiencing those wind speeds. Then it has a lot of different areas here, different systems. The one that we're particularly interested in is AT1. And what we want to look at is underneath this, we can look at forecast information. So I'm going to expand this, and maybe I want to see the forecast track. So I click on it and I see I get a nice check mark next to it. Also want the forecast points. So real important, I'm going to hold my control key down and click on the forecast points, and that's just adding to my selection. So you see I now have both of these selected. And let's also look at maybe some of the wind information. Let's look at the forecast wind radar. So we'll select that as well. So we'll select those three. I'm going to leave the default image format selected that I have. The same thing for the coordinate reference system. But I am going to change my opacity here. I want to make it semi-transparent just so that we can see some of the underlying base map information. And then I'll simply click apply. This will add this information as a new layer into my map. I see that it's popped up here. I'm not seeing anything on the map yet because by default it's turned off. I just need to turn this layer on by clicking in the box next to the layer name. And as I do that and give it a second to refresh, I see the forecasted storm track as well as the wind radar. And this is the forecasted wind radius for the different speeds. We see they have it broken out in categories from 34 knots, 50 knots, 64 knots. And With this layer selected, I can use my View Feature Data tool to also click on any of these points and pull up information about that particular forecasted point that we've clicked on. The other layer that is pretty neat, I think, that you can add, and let me turn this layer off for now. We'll add this as another layer. So I'm going to go back to my web page here, back to this Cloud Web Services. And actually, I didn't need to do that. I just need to already have the URL. All I need to do is I'm going to add a new layer. So I'm going to come here, add a data, this new layer to map, select that option again, select my Add Internet Mapping Service. Give this a layer name, just so I can, have something descriptive for it. Paste that URL in, click Connect. Again, I'm going to get the list of items available that I can add, and I want to look at the probabilistic winds. And if I would add each of these as individual layers in the map. For this, I'm just going to go ahead and select the 34 knot wind field. And again, I want to leave the default image format, leave the default coordinate reference system, but I'm also going to change the opacity again so it's semi-transparent. And actually, when I add this layer to the map, this gives you the areas of probability of experiencing those wind speeds. So again, I thought this was some useful information. So this just shows you how you can easily add data from third parties into your GIS projects. Just takes a little research sometimes, finding the location of that data that's available. The other thing I do want to mention is with the National Weather Service and National Hurricane Center, you can also download some of this information to your local machine as a shapefile that would give you even more capability to do other analysis. And actually, if you go to the website here, it is www.nhc.noaa.gov/GIS. And they have a lot of the same information available that you can download as a shapefile. And of course, once you've downloaded it as a shapefile to your local machine, you can simply come and add it as a layer into your map, and it would give you even more analysis capabilities. And so just wanted to pass this along in light of the recent storm. Thought it could be some useful information. Thank you. Have a great day.